Ives, the Pet of an Underdog. Really excited. Still, again, part 7, the Pet of an Underdog. This is where it comes alive. And this subchapter is called Time to Write. Discovery. I realized something in me, uniquely in me, is telling me to be an author. Okay. And I looked at every business sector, every category in life, and landed on becoming an author. And the Time to Write, this subchapter, I realized something. Creative writing and vision seeking, it has to be written with freedom and vulnerability. That's what a true author has to do. Freedom and vulnerability, the freedom to write, and the freedom to do it fearlessly, right? So it has to be completely uncensored with natural discovery, telling life, taking a long time, the life apprenticeship, observing, experiencing good things, experiencing bad things, experiencing success, failure, love, animosity, discouragement, grace, joy, taking those emotions and sharing it with the world, right? And the purpose was to reveal, for me as a Time to Write or as an author, a fearless sense of creation. In my example, I think about this is it's almost like a pollinator. Think about a honeybee from the pollinator family. It's opening the senses to a blooming tulip in early season with the hope, that the pollen is sweet and spreads to the natural world. Unseen and imperfect to the wandering traveler, but the natural process, vital to the larger ecosystem. Authors, they're spreading, but it's part of a bigger system, right? Singing birds, charming butterflies, beautiful bees, they're designed to fly and float, and they spread micronutrients to the vast macro environment. And I was like, wow, I'm on to something here. This is feeling good. Who are the pollinators? Authors for sure, but then also philosophers, inventors, innovators, entrepreneurs, mentors, all these things. They're spreading good things. The DNA, the way they're wired is to share new ideas, provide intangible solutions in the tangible world, carry elements of life, spread food for the soul. The pollinator types, they're working independently, but for the better collective. They're coming up with new strategies, new ideas. And again, you can see where this is going in part 7, opening up senses, emotions, life's experience, and sharing it. And I knew that I was going to go to places that were going to be uncomfortable. I knew I was going to take this writing to places were out of my comfort zone, were outside of social norms, were outside of my social construct, my culture. That's what it comes to. That path of discovery, that path of purpose and vision casting comes to that point. Do you have the moxie, the strength to do it? Do you have thick enough skin when somebody says you can't or you shouldn't or it's not worth it, get back in line here? Do you have the charisma and ambition and fire burning in your heart? Yes, you do, to go on and do these things. And even so, here, I wrote a disclaimer. This is my disclaimer. Because again, my high school GPA was 1.79. I never felt smart. Maybe I had a learning disability. Probably not. I just learned a different way. Okay. So how could somebody with a poor academic history for the first half of life become an author? Isn't being an author or writer reserved for the intellect, academia, for professors, for the PhDs? I was like, how dare I? How dare I? Right? But those are the things. Leave the comfort zone. I'm doing it. It was like, I'm doing it. Here's my disclaimer. I knew that my writing wasn't going to have congruent flow or structural smoothness. It's going to come off as kind of choppy, unorganized, sporadic. And that is perfect in design. That's real life. That's authenticity. That's purpose. But the intent was to download freely from God, from life experiences, without the fear, just remove fear from the formula, the fear of self-judgment, the fear of criticism, the fear of doing it and not being good enough or being criticized. Fine. The other part of the disclaimer is my writing was constructed without precision or permission. And I love that. It was like, hey, look, like this isn't going to be perfect, not going to sound or adapt to a certain literary style that the academics would deem good enough. No precision. And I wasn't asking those types. I wasn't asking permission from the writing community. I wasn't asking permission from anyone other than myself. And permission was granted. And quite honestly, through the writing, it was therapeutic, meditative, but also, and this is the important part, it was rash, it was reckless, it was in my face. I was writing and I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say it this way. I was like, no. Rash, reckless, move forward, go for it. Don't stop. Who's going to stop you? I'm not asking for permission. I'm going. Oh, knock on the door. They're not, kick it down, turn it down, blow it up, get through the barriers. Regardless of what comes in my way, I'm going to steamroll any self-criticism, social criticism. I'm not stopping. I'm going from not an author to being an author. Just as if I was looking at my career, I went from not having an education to having an MBA, not having a title to having a great title, not being able to have a great salary to having a great salary. Relative success. So when I look at myself in the mirror and I say, I'm successful, I'm not saying I'm successful compared to anybody else other than myself at a certain time. And guess what? The pen of an underdog, that underdog status, no longer an underdog. And this is the turning point. This is the transition, no longer an underdog. I'm no longer an underdog. And that's what I want to share. That's why the story I feel could help people. I want help. You feel like you're an underdog? Check out the book. Read the book. It's going to change your life. I believe that. Am I naive to believe that? I believe it. I think if you read the book, you're going to say, okay, if this guy can do it, then I can do it. If this person who had a 1.79 GPA can write a book, if he could write a book in 30 days, a 30-day author, a legitimate 30-day author, based on never asking permission and based on my own framework. I am a 30-day author, a real author. I wrote a legitimate book. Do it. You do it. It's your turn. Go on that path of self-discovery. Go on that path of stopping for a moment, be alone with yourself, reflect and say, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? I could be doing something more authentic to self. I could be doing something greater. You could be using your talents, your mind, your thoughts, your intuition in a better way than you currently are. Do it. Do it. That's why I wrote the book, and I'm proud of that. And I want you to be proud of whatever you decide to do. Stay connected. More to come. I get fired up on this stuff, but Ray Ives, the pen of an underdog, no permission.